you would receive a death sentence. So Kolu doesn't want that. But on the other hand, he was like, no, we're going to approach them differently now, okay? And they will be treated as terrorists. I don't understand. Like, if you arrest them, how do you treat them as terrorists so that to use a law to jail them or to execute them, isn't it? But Kolu.
Doctrine will fundamentally change how we confront terrorism and other violent crimes. Under this new architecture, any armed group or gun-wielding non-state actors operating outside the state authority will be regarded as terrorists. Bandits, militia, armed gangs, armed robbers, violent cults, forest-based armed groups, and foreign-linked mercenaries will all be targeted. We will go after all those who perpetrated violence for political or sectarian ends, along with those who finance and facilitate their evil schemes.
Again, just words until you actually see the action. It is reported recently, just 2 days ago. Remember those people arrested, those guys arrested by soldiers, by soldiers in Ifelodun local government area of Kwara State, then confessed that their guns and everything they found on them were, they were given to them by people in government, Kwara State government. Well, they turned out to be members of Miyeti Allah. And then it also turned out that the Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria, that is Office of Rebadu, approved guns or arming of some Miyeti Allah, some Fulanis. Therefore, while they control what you can have access to defend your family, to defend your own communities, Office of Rebadu is issuing tons of guns, right? Rebadu was arming the Miyeti Allahs. And this is not actually like, a rumor. It's been confirmed. So most of the guns you see with these Fulanis, for those who identify as Miyeti Allah, and those who got the guns and didn't identify as Miyeti Allah, the Office of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria is giving guns to the same people Tinubu said called state actors. Let that sink in, right? Let that sink in. To Akpabiole, majority of you may have all these opinions, including myself, about Tinubu and how they are running Nigeria, but that is not their own fault. That you are not seeing it the way other people are seeing it, because as of today, almost everyone that was on the other side to Tinubu wanted to be inside with Tinubu now. And he can attest to that as a Senate president, using the Senate chamber, Senate house or so, as a reference.
Stakeholders coming in from other political parties must be given equal opportunities to thrive. There must not be any discrimination. Do your best not to leave anybody behind. In the Senate, we are doing our best to ensure that we carry the Senate as one, irrespective of political party. And I can confirm to you that when we came in, the opposition had almost 50 members. But today, when I counted, there are about 5 or 4 left in the opposition. And even those 5 members have whispered to me that I should carry them to the president, the leader of the party, that they are prepared to join the APC. As the president, I will soon bring some of them. I don't want to run a Senate without any opposition. So because of that, I have intentionally, I'm reporting to the caucus, allowed the APC members who have declared in their states, who are yet to declare in the Senate, to continue in the minority caucus. Otherwise, that place would have been empty. And so I thank Governor Peter Mba for allowing our Senator Ositangu to continue to maintain the position of the Chief Whip of the minority for today. Thank you, Your Excellency. Otherwise, the place would have been empty. So as we grow, there will be envy, there will be jealousy. And with jealousy comes hatred. And with hatred comes challenges. So, Mr. President, ours in this caucus today is to assure you that we are not only with you, we are also praying for you. Praying for you to overcome the challenges of the day is also praying for Nigeria. We are very sad that people have decided to torment Nigeria with very serious organized and orchestrated insecurity. We align ourselves with states that are mourning as a result of the loss of lives occasioned by terrorists, by bandits, and by insurgents. We thank the President for the release of over 100 children who were kidnapped very recently, and we pray to God to give him the ability and the enablement to release the remaining children. Stakeholders.
Welcome to Nigeria. People are jealous of us. It's not a problem that, you know what I mean? We are in power. We are the one everybody is coming to. So we accommodate those we can accommodate. We carry them along. And we still leave some out there so that it, doesn't really kind of look too obvious that you are running a one-party state or you are headed for one. So if you complain, it's because you are jealous, and because you are jealous of them, then you started hating them. When you talk about them, when you out them in anything, it may be coming from the position of jealousy and hatred. Oh, it's because they hate us. It's not because we are doing bad. It's not because that a terrorist took 315 school children from their dormitory and it never actually caused any national uproar. It never really moved this same political class. They are not shaking, nothing. Not to worry that, oh my God, this has ruined our opportunity for next election, or how our party will suffer this. No, they're not bothered. They are praying to God to give Tinubu energy to rescue the rest of the children. And for the states who are suffering from one calamity or the other because of terrorism, because of bandits and the rest of them, we pray to God to give President the energy to, they don't care. No, they don't. I wouldn't say it's sad. Hopeless Uzodingba even went further to say, because things are not really the way some people want it to be. So this opposition want to take advantage of that. Mr. President, don't listen to them. We are with you.
And the urgent need of interventions in the form of far-reaching reforms. It was clear that only a sincere and intentional leader of steel with courage to implement policies that will make Nigeria take its right pride of place in the Committee of Nations was needed. And this would require abolishing the petrol subsidy and eradicating the currency racketeering that was bleeding the nation's economy to death, among other measures. We know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, simply took the bull by the horn on May 29, 2023, as soon as he assumed office, and courageously rolled out the policies needed to salvage our fragile, dying national economy. We regret, honestly, that opposition elements have been trying to misrepresent the truth during the healing process that followed the visionary and transformative reforms of Mr. President, telling Nigerians that the reforms are designed to hurt the citizens. This is the height of hypocrisy. It is an irony that politicians who also contested elections to become the president of Nigeria, in their manifestos made promises to undertake the same reforms if elected into office. The same people are the ones now trying to weaponize the implementation of the policies in the name of opposition politics. We are glad that Mr. President has refused to be distracted. We are also glad that Mr. President's fire for fire approach to insecurity is bearing fruits. Specifically, the lightning-fast rescue of the kidnapped victims in Kebbi State, in Kwara State, and in Niger States, which stands in a sharp contrast.
Àmọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ gbé kalẹ̀ yìí ó dàbí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹni tí ọpọlọ rẹ̀ yòrò tàbí ẹni tí Ọlọ́run fi síbi aláṣà àwọn ọpọlọ rẹ̀ bí ọpọlọ ikú ó jọ má bẹ́ẹ̀ tọpọlọ rẹ̀ ò tó nǹkan rárá tàbí ètò wà ń bẹ kó má tiẹ̀ wúlò má rárá.
Sycophants that surrounds Kolu. We are glad that Tinubu's reform is yielding results. Tinubu's action on insecurity is yielding results. People around him. Sometimes you'll be wondering and say, well, is he not living in the country too? These are also the characters around the Buhari. When Buhari was on the verge of destroying Nigeria, they were telling him he was doing fine. You know, that those who didn't agree, they were just enemy of Nigeria, only for these same criminals. Few days after Buhari left, they started talking about how Nigeria is so bad. If not for that, Tinubu came. You understand that Nigeria is so bad. Who destroyed Nigeria? That Tinubu had to fix it. So they are like, man. So they now told us that that's how it works in that as old rock. You get me? They said that when Buhari was there, Omole, the guy that just published a book about Buhari, yeah, he just said something about cabals. He said the cabals around the Buhari. This is going to be like the third time I'm actually hearing this, all right? So maybe he worked with Buhari, so you know. So he's talking about cabals around these guys. That they were so good that they were curating Buhari's newspaper. Yeah. Do you understand what that means, right? Don't worry, I'll tell you. When you go to the newsstand to buy a copy of Daily, right? And you understand that if you go to newsstand in Lagos to buy the Nation newspaper for today, and the other people go to Abuja newsstand or Owerri newsstand, they are all going to get the same content. Yeah? Yeah, you're going to get the same content when it says national dailies. But when it comes to Buhari, they add a different curated copies that pretty much just praising the government. People so happy. Economy getting better, improving. Here you get headlines, everything different. And they said because Buhari loves cartoon, they will make caricature cartoons of, here you get, so just put in between. Like they are curating newspapers for Buhari. So why the rest of you are reading different newspapers about what's going on in the country? He is reading a different one, telling him a different thing. And those around him ensured of that. I didn't say it. Maybe I should put it properly, the way he said it.
Perhaps what you ran away from easily here, what maybe you didn't capture or maybe I have not read, was how Buhari was comfortably able to allow people to run riots in their offices without, I mean, I've had minister on this program who said, in my years of serving Buhari, he never asked me a question about my role as a minister. That we didn't see much of here.
Well, two things. Number one, this book is not about policy, Buhari policy. It's about the man, Buhari. So reference to policies is as it relates to his thinking, about what he was thinking around that policy rather than the policy itself. Now the thing is this: Buhari by nature he delegates. Once he delegates, he allows you to do the work. But the problem, what people don't understand, is that a lot of what he believed was going on was curated by people around him. I mean, for example, there are things I actually did not include in the book that I felt were probably too hot to put in the book.
Like what? The subject matter. Without having to state the details if they are difficult to say.
For example, one of the things about Buhari is that he loved reading newspapers. Everybody knows that, right from, the early days. He was a newspaper man. And there were reports that the Cabal went to the extent of curating his own newspaper for him.
A version of the newspaper.
Yes, that would plant stories they want him to read.
And and perhaps, there are those who even say that this happened to not only President Buhari, that in fact it may be happening to the present president, that he may not be seeing the actual news and he may not be reading the actual newspaper, and that leaders in that form and shape and height get to the point of being fed with whatever those who are around him and managing them wanted.
That is true. The challenge, of course, with someone like Buhari is there's one overarching cabal. But in the current government, there are multiple cabals, and that, I think, has its plus and minus. In the sense
so there's a possibility that a president may not know what is happening in the country for 3 days.
Of course.
Because everything is teleguided.
Even the channels he watches. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Everything is
teleguided, is being managed in a way that those who are around him. And that's why the name of Tunde Sabiu, for example, came up. As his level of education, his experience, those who they say controlled what went on, who saw the president, what kind of, in fact, the daughter of the president wrote, who somewhat is, what's it called?
Auditor.
Yeah, and went and discovered that some of the signatures of the president in documents were forged.
That's correct.
And that's how powerful some of the people around the president. So it's not the fault of some of these presidents sometimes. It could be the fault of those who are managing them, is it?
That is true. I mean, the thing is...
Sheung likes to kind of like mumbo jumbo things unnecessarily sometimes, right? But yeah, we have heard that too. How they manage to, but that's kind of like some BS though. I mean, it's some BS because to be president of a country, you're actually going to, number one, you are living in the country. Before you become president, meaning like they're not curating the news you're accessing, right? Not really. Okay. You've got families around you too. Okay. And then you met people, different kinds of people on your campaign trail, right? That gives you an idea of what this country is. Not just that, you actually have the good grasp, understanding of every part of the country. Economy or security or the people, the language or the culture or the tradition. You get to know everything. Very important. And you know why you have to know everything? I mean, how you can know everything is because in that capacity, right, you have part of staff, advisors, this and that. But it is only in Nigeria that they will have over 13,000 political appointees advising the president, and he will never meet them. Yeah, we've had people who were with Buhari for 8 years, and they never had one-on-one with him for once for that 8 years. Do you get what I mean? So it's crazy though, right? Somebody like Shore will be like, no, don't believe that nonsense. They know what is going on. They know what they want to know. It's basically what they want to know. And they choose to not know what they don't want to know. You know? and I believe Showore over them. So Tinubu's cabal, who are they? How many?
But in the current government, there are multiple cabals, and that I think has its plus and minus in the sense.
So there's a possibility that a president may not know what is happening in the country for 3 days.
Of course.
Because everything is teleguided.
Even the channels he watches. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Everything is
teleguided, is being managed in a way that those who are around him. And that's why the name of Tunde Sabiu, for example, came up as his level of education, his experience, those who, they say, controlled what went on, who saw the president, what kind of, in fact, the daughter of the president wrote, who somewhat is, what's it called?
Forensic auditor.
Yeah, and went and discovered that some of the signatures of the president in documents were forged.
That's correct.
And that's how powerful some of the people around the president. So it's not the fault of some of these presidents sometimes. It could be the fault of those who are managing them, is it?
That is true. I mean, the thing is, president will always have people around him, but you need to put systems in place to avoid state capture or presidential capture, as if want of a better word. Because, for example, the current government have, from what I can see, at least 5 cabals.
Within the presidency?
Yes. And the interesting thing about one of the cabals actually is headed by the president himself, based on my own analysis. Because if you're looking at the word cabal are people who have proximity to power and who have the ability to influence policy and decisions. So in this current administration, you have at least 5 groups, all fighting.
Who are these groups?
Okay, if you're talking about the 5 cabal, number 1, there is the chief of staff group.
That's Cabal.
Yes, and by that I mean not just him, people who are in close circle.
In that, yeah.
You had Wiki to that, you had NSA to that, and people who are in the circle. That's one. Number 2, you have the Sheikh Tinubu's pathway. That's another.
The boy is that powerful.
Oh yes, and also people he helped to put in government. So that forms another group. The third group, of course, is the first lady. You can't rule that out. She has her own team. The fourth group is a group of the young Turks around the president, the principal private secretary, the AO, the CSO, those ones that control access. Those ones, that they form their own cabal. And then the fifth cabal, which the president head himself, actually are what I call the geriatrics. There are quite a few old people that have influence on the
that he listens to. So some of them, I understand, some of them are even complaining that I've not seen him in a long time. They are not allowing us to see him.
No, what you see there is a conflict of cabal. Part of the danger of having multiple cabals like that is decision making is slower. Because once one cabal pushes a decision, the others fight against it. And then, it takes a while for the man to make a decision.
And there's a problem. Whoever gets to the president first, and when he hears the story and take action, probably will get the upper hand.
I think that's a problem generally with old people, generally. For those of us who have old people in the family, the first person to report tends to be the innocent party. But in the current government,
the government of gerontocracy, the government of geriatrics, by the geriatrics, for the geriatrics, I think. But that's not gerontocracy. Gerontocracy is actually greedy. It's like the greed of few. Cabals, I thought he won't list them. I would have listed 3. I wouldn't have put Rebadu in the same camp with Akpabiole, but he was right. Akpabiole is responsible for all the political appointments made through the office of Tinubu. Do you understand? Everyone working for Tinubu got employed by Akpabiole. Everyone working for Hitman got employed by Omole. But there are those, like they said, there are those who have the influence of influencing some certain decisions here and there. Then we all know that Remy, Rat also kind of like controls her own space. Yeah, she's got her own power. And Sheyi influenced at least the appointment of 2 ministers in his father's government and several other appointments that, well, Sheyi influenced, But the bottom line is that, as it's always been, okay, so the bottom line is that none of this serves the interest of Nigerians. None of it. Cabals left, right, and center. I don't know how recent this